Hello and welcome to College Student Tax Information for U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and resident aliens for tax purposes for the 2018 tax year. This workshop is sponsored by the Office of the University Bursar, Shared Services Payroll, and Health and Wellness Promotion. The university provides this information to students solely for informational purposes, and it is not intended to be tax or legal advice. The information is provided to provide the tax filer with a comfort level in their decisions while they're filing their taxes. The ultimate responsibility lies with the tax filer. This workshop will be presented in 4 sections to successful tax preparation. The first section, we will review your income sources. The second, we will review tax payments made and tax forms received. The third, we will review filing requirements and common deductions. And finally, how to file and where to receive assistance. Step 1, review your income sources. We will determine whether income is taxable versus non-taxable, review stipend and scholarship taxability, and how to determine the taxability of your Metcalf internship. Taxable versus non-taxable income. Tax filing is based on inventorying income and determining whether you are required to pay taxes on the income received. Taxable income examples include wages and salary, bonuses, awards, and fringe benefits, self-employment income, investment or foreign income, and reimbursement of expenses. Typically, some students may receive reimbursement of health coverage. This would be an example of a reimbursement of an expense that is taxable. Non-taxable, non-reportable income examples include financial assistance through student loans and some military or disability payments. For more details on income sources and whether they are taxable or non-taxable, you may consult IRS Publication 525 on the IRS website. Stipends and scholarships. If you receive funding through stipend or scholarship from UChicago or an external source, all or part may be taxable, even if you did not receive a tax form. Generally, these types of aid assist by scholarship in the pursuit of studies for tuition and fees, or stipend to offset living expenses while studying. If you are a candidate for a degree, you generally may include from income part of the assistance used for tuition and fees, books, supplies, and equipment required for your courses. You may not exclude any income or any part of the grant used for other purposes, such as room and board. A general rule of thumb is part of your stipend or scholarship will always be taxable if it pays for something you would require even when you were not a student. Metcalf internship. Metcalf internships are usually either employment-sponsored or supplemented by a Metcalf stipend. Employment-sponsored students may receive a W-2 from the employer for wages they received during their internship. Others may receive a Metcalf stipend. The stipend is income that is not applied directly to tuition or fees, therefore it is considered taxable income. Documentation is your proof of payment for tax purposes. Scholarship funding. If you're not sure how much funding you received in the calendar year 2018 from UChicago, you may access this information in the My Financial Aid section of the My UChicago portal. Please remember the academic year is different than the tax year. The academic year begins in summer and ends in spring, whereas the tax year is date-driven and includes transactions between January 1st and December 31st of 2018. Remember, scholarship funding also includes funding outside of the university, so please remember to include these types of aid as well in determining taxability. For more information and instructions on how to file this income, go to Tax Topic 421 on the IRS website. Now we will pause for a knowledge check. Fact: all income is taxable income. True or false? The answer is false. All income should be recorded and evaluated on whether it is taxable or non-taxable. Step 2. Review tax payments made and tax forms received. In this section, we will review common tax forms you may receive and also the process of making quarterly tax payments. Typical tax forms you may receive as a college student include the following: the W-2 wage and tax statement. This includes wages or salary compensation you may have received from an employer. These are to be provided to you by January 31st following the tax year. The second is the 1099 miscellaneous income statement. This may include one-time payments, maybe for legal fees, settlements, or services provided. The provider of the income should provide you with this tax form by January 31st. The 1090-T charge statement is the third form. Payments made for qualified charges in the tax year are reflected on this form. The University of Chicago Bursar provides this form by January 31st. The fourth form is the 1099-E student loan interest statement. If you are paying interest on a student loan during the tax year, you may receive this form from your lender if you paid more than $600 of interest during the tax year. They are also required to provide this to you by January 31st. And finally, the 1095-B insurance coverage statement. This form is proof that you had insurance coverage during the tax year and is provided by your healthcare provider by January 31st. Domestic students will not receive a tax form for stipend, scholarship, or fellowship payments. The IRS considers these to be self-reported income, and you must remit taxes and include these as income on the portions that are taxable. When you do receive self-reported income, you often are required to submit estimated quarterly tax payments. Federal and state tax law requires individuals to pay estimated tax payments on self-reported income. If you will owe more than $1,000 in federal taxes or $500 for Illinois state, you should be making estimated quarterly payments. If you do not make these payments, you may be subject to a penalty for late taxes. The process of making quarterly estimated tax payments are completed by completing the following worksheets at the federal and state level. The 1040-ES. Deadlines for these payments during the tax year are January 15th, April 15th, June 15th, and September 15th. Forms include due dates and explanation of how to estimate the taxes you may owe. For more information, consult the IRS publication 505 on the IRS website. Now we will pause for a knowledge check. Fact: you will receive a tax form for all of your taxable income. True or false? The answer is false. There are types of income you will receive where you will not receive a tax form. It is up to the taxpayer to determine if the income is taxable and how to report it according to the IRS guidelines. Step 3. Review your filing requirements and common deductions. In this section, we will review how you determine if you have a filing requirement, the process of itemizing or utilizing the standard deduction, and what types of common deductions students utilize. Do I have a filing requirement for 2018? Several factors influence filing requirements. However, for most domestic and resident alien citizens, income is the main factor. You determine if you need to file by first determining your filing status and then if your gross income was at least the minimums reflected on this chart. If you are still claimed as a dependent for tax purposes, you still may need to file taxes depending on the amount of gross income you earned in the tax year. Single dependents must file if your unearned income was over $1,050 or your earned income was $12,600. And the following amounts are for married dependents. Please determine your tax filing status along with your parent or guardian, as these amounts will vary depending on your filing status. For more information on filing status and filing requirements, you may go to IRS Publication 501. For the 2018 year is the new year for the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This new tax law is in effect and the standard deduction has been doubled. It is important that you review to see if you will itemize or use this new standard deduction. Often, students utilize the Earned Income Credit. To qualify for an Earned Income Credit, you must have earned income from employment, self-employment, or another source. To review all requirements for the Earned Income Credit, please see IRS Publication 596. Similarly, as a student, you should review Publication 970, which includes all general education-related deductions. Please review this as well. The Affordable Care Act is still in effect for the 2018 tax year, and all tax filers are required to maintain health coverage during the tax year. To determine if you have any individual responsibilities that you need to claim on your tax forms, you may go to the Affordable Care Act Individual Responsibility Provision website. If you had coverage during the tax year, you would be using your 1095-B to prove your tax coverage. The 1098-T tuition charge statement reports all payments for tuition and qualified expenses for the 2018 tax year. It also lists scholarships and grants and tax-exempt funds dispersed to your student account. These amounts, however, are not to be used for taxable determination purposes. As a general rule, you may only deduct payments you paid out of pocket, including student loans, for any tax credits. Tax forms and copies of the 1098-T are online available at myuchicago.edu. To see if you qualify for a tax credit, you may use an online calculator on the IRS website. Student loan interest deduction. Students who are continuing to make payments toward previous student loans and or paying interest only may be eligible for a deduction. If you paid more than $600 or more of interest on a qualified student loan during the year, you would receive a 1098-E from your lender. Now we will pause for a knowledge check. Everyone itemizes their deductions on their tax returns. True or false? The answer is false. It is up to the taxpayer to evaluate how they want to file. New regulations may change how you filed in the past. Please review both itemized and standard deduction scenarios when you are filing. Step 4. How to file and where to get assistance. We will review tax returns, where to obtain tax preparation assistance, and other tax information resources. If you have any taxable income that qualifies under your filing limit, you must file a tax return. New for 2018, everyone will use the Form 1040. Updated schedules if itemizing, and no personal exemptions for withholding, and the tax brackets have been updated. Also too, please be reminded that even if you didn't have a filing requirement, you may want to determine if you are eligible for a refund. You will need to file to claim any refunds due on tax filing. When you're reporting your stipend, scholarship, or fellowship income, any portion of that you must include in your gross income on your tax return. Scholarship or stipend income must be properly labeled with scholarship in the taxable amount to the space left of the wages and salaries tips line of your tax return, to the left of box 1. If you receive a Form W-2 wage and tax statement in addition with amounts for services under scholarship, fellowship, or grant, include that amount in box 1. For more information on how to document scholarship and stipend income on your tax return, please refer to publication 970. It is important that you do identify this income separately from wages, so you are not held responsible for other taxes. Prior year filings and corrections. If you failed to report self-reported income in previous years, you can correct it by completing an amended tax return. If you filed a previous return for a calendar year, this form is called the 1040X. If you did not file, you simply may just use an original filing form for that tax year. If you need assistance, you may begin with the IRS Free File Tax Assistance software. This is available to you to provide electronic filing. Also, too, there are many resources available on the IRS website and the Illinois State Revenue website. The IRS also sponsors assistance sites across the country referred to as VITA sites. These are volunteers in tax assistance. Individuals staff the sites and are certified to assist you in filing tax returns. The requirement is that you have no more than an adjusted gross income of $55,000. To locate the nearest VITA site, you may contact the following 800 number or use the online locator on the IRS website. There are over 10 sites within a 10-mile radius, including Harold Washington Library and Robert Morris College near the UChicago campus. You may choose to utilize a paid resource in completing your tax filing. There are many types of paid resources you may utilize. The first one is a certified public accountant. Please realize that not all CPAs specialize in income tax. Please use the following websites to determine if the individual you are utilizing is a certified CPA. Enrolled agents are individuals that focus solely on taxes and are trained or work directly for the IRS. Enrolled agents are more economical than a CPA, and to locate one, you may use the following website. Third, there are many national tax prep chains, and they work best for simple, straightforward returns. You may utilize these services, however, please make sure they do have experience with student tax returns. Finally, many individuals choose to file with purchased online software. An example is TurboTax. TurboTax also has a free and low-cost purchase editions. If you choose to use a professional tax preparer, make sure that they've filed tax returns, they have passed any certifying exams, and you're avoiding anyone who bases their fee on a percentage of your refund. Now we will pause for a final knowledge check. Fact: there are many ways to file your taxes. True or false? True. It is up to the taxpayer to evaluate how they want to file. Manually, electronically, paid tax preparer, the choice is yours. In closing, please remember to keep a file with all your scholarship payments and types of payments so you know what to expect at year end. Keep track of payments towards qualified charges and expense deductions. Make estimated tax payments if required. And finally, visit taxes.uchicago.edu for more information on and frequently asked questions during the tax year. Good luck with your tax filing, and thank you for watching.